Welcome to the Strategic Management Accounting course, where we teach the value-adding steps and processes necessary to execute strategy. Whether you are just starting up or looking to grow your business, then this course is for you. With your host, Dr. Neil O'Connor.
I want to summarize the second half of chapter 19 in a way that is not that clear, because it looks like, oh, there's extra learning objectives of 6 and then 7, then 8, and it's focusing on time-based competition, whereas the first half of chapter 19 focuses on quality-based competition. And we just saw a great presentation on quality-based competition where you just focus on quality, but it's really focusing on how do you get a financial statement together that shows different aspects of quality, okay? But that was financial measures. You're focusing on financial measures in the quality, right? Not the non-financials. And so the second half, once we go into time-based competition, we're forced to look at a lot of non-financial measures, because anything to do with time is non-financial. Let me repeat. Anything to do with time is non-financial. Okay? Non-financial. Not financial. So the first half really very focused on financial. What do you use financial for? Influencing people above you to make decisions to give you money. You're influencing them, but that report may help facilitate them making a more accurate decision. You with me? Okay. What we do in the second half of 19, we're focusing more on decision facilitation, not influencing. Remember I said last week, it doesn't matter if companies use this or not. If you go into an environment they don't use it and thinking, oh, fat lot of good that what Neil taught us, it's not used, well then maybe you have the opportunity one day to use that, and then what will happen? You start to organise financial data according to a quality statement, appraisal, prevention, internal, external, opportunity costs, and then you look smart. Whether the company's been doing that or not, you look smart. People will take notice of you. So whether companies use it or not doesn't matter. The fact that you know this as a new tool makes you better. That's all. Right? It makes you more influential because you know another way to reorganize the financial data to convince other people to, what did I say? Influence other people. That's why you're doing this. It doesn't matter if companies do this or not. Okay? It doesn't matter. All right? In some countries you go into, yes, they use it, others don't. Where they don't, then you use it for your advantage. You introduce it. Okay? So that's one way. All right, so that's the first half of 19. Very much focused on rearranging financial data so you can influence other people to give you money so you can make operational improvements. Okay? And then the second half of the first half of 19, which is second quarter. All right? Remember, we rearranged that data and we looked at two different initiatives, right? To change redesign the frames or to take another initiative, right? And then by doing one or the other, that was kind of like decision facilitating. If we do it one way, how much money are we going to save? If we do another way, how much money are we going to save? You with me? So we're just trying to work out how best can we allocate resources. Once you have influenced a C manager to give you the resources. Are you with me? Okay, influencing the big manager to give you money. But then you might use a more detailed report to decide, okay, should I put money there or should I put money there? Now you're using the information for facilitation. Okay? Accuracy. Decision facilitation is about accuracy. Influencing is about psychology. Okay? Psychology of the mind. All right, so that's the first half of chapter 19. Now we go to the second half. What do we do in the second half of chapter 19? We've got lots of things here. I haven't even showed you the PowerPoint. But I want to give you 3 dials. This is all you need to know. There are 3 dials here. There are 3 things that you need to know. I'm going to come to this in the first example tonight and the second example. Then we're going to go through the PowerPoint slides where I show you the first and second examples. There'll be the videos of the first example. There's a video of the second example. We go through them. But I want to show you how it fits into the framework. There are 3 things you need to consider. Normally, if you want to, if you have 3 things you have control over, normally you want to change one to achieve an objective in another, keeping the other one constant. Let me repeat. You may want to change one part to affect another part while keeping the other constant. So you may change this to change the other, all right, while keeping this constant. So what goes in these circles? That's the big question, all right? I want you to keep in mind the logic, okay? There's one circle here that you can't change. Do you know what that is? I'll give you a hint. See that little thing on the wall? What is that thing? What is that? Quick. Time! Yes, you can't change that. You can't change the mechanical representation of time. Okay, this is supposed to be aligned with atomic clock. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, right? So let's put time in here. Right, we've got 2 other parties here, and let's draw the second party. This is our customer. How many of you have been to a bank? You've been into a waiting line where you are waiting for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Put your hand up if you've been waiting in line for more than 10, 15. Yeah, did you enjoy that? No, you don't like that. I know, all right? So what's the difference between you, the customer, your perception of time, okay, and the real representation of time? There's a difference. Okay? You may have thought you were there waiting for 15 minutes, but it was only 10 minutes. It's what you perceive. That's a different circle. And that's what we can manage this. You cannot manage this. This doesn't change. You can't control this, but you can control the customer's perception of time. How do we do that? We brainwash them. We give them expectations. Expectations. How do we do that? We market to them. We make promises. Okay, we promise you come to our bank, you will wait no longer than 10 minutes, otherwise we give you $10 credit to your account. Everyone's in the waiting line. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. You understand what I mean? The promise, then customers set it as an expectation. And now they're starting to measure. You with me? All right, measure it, right? Because you have actually set up a formal promise. All right, what's on the other side here? This is delivery. Delivery. What do we mean by delivery? It could be delivery of a product from a factory, a lead time. If you want to order a chipset from me to go into your next smartphone because you're Xiaomi, I can give you a lead time of 8 days. Or if it's a complex chipset, I need a lead time of 16 days. So I'm promising you a time by delivery. That's the same as I'm promising you shall not wait no more than 10 minutes in the bank line. Don't mix up. These are the same thing. Service promise, factory promise. Okay? So here is the operations. Operations. You have control over here, the customer. You have control over operations. You don't have control over time. So the big decisions are, do you want to change this or do you want to change this? Because this is sort of constant. Once you start making promises based on time here, all right, as soon as you change this, to keep balance between 1, 2 and 3, you need to change this. You cannot change this and not change this and have customers be happier or sadder. Let me explain in the example we're going to go through in a minute. So for example, if the waiting time currently is 5 minutes and you have customer service officer that can do 40 customers in a day, all right, and serve, it takes 5 minutes to serve each customer. And they're open for 5 hours, 300 minutes. All right, there's an example there. What if the customer service officer, or in your demand planning, you're thinking, oh, in the future, maybe the customers go from 40 customers up to 50 customers, and we've made a promise of 5 minutes. If that changes here, demand, then you have to change supply to meet that demand, to keep your promise of time the same. Because as soon as you make a promise here that has time in it, now you are bringing this circle into your equation, and you can't control that. All right? As soon as you make a time quality promise, all right, you need to change your operations to fit that promise. So if you're starting off with a promise of 5-minute waiting, and the customer service officer can serve a customer in 5 minutes, can do 40 customers, and they're working for 300 minutes, what's that, 5 hours? Oh, long time. How many of you would like to work in a bank for 5 hours straight? No? The banks need you. You are needed. The banks need you, okay? You can't just put money there and expect no one wants to work in the bank. All right, banks need you. All right, that's another question. All right, what if customers go from 40 to 50, like demand increases? We're coming up to Chinese New Year. What happens in the week leading up to Chinese New Year? Everyone goes into the bank to get money. 给你钱, huh? All right, why? 利息大来, right? 利息. Yeah, to get money. You get money for 利息, all right? So, in that week, if you want to keep this promise, in other words, you're not changing your promise on time here, this is going to change, so therefore you need to change your operations capability to meet this change because you've made a promise here. All right? This symbiotic relationship between mechanical time, customer expectations, your capability, that relationship no longer exists when you do not make a promise of time. That you will deliver in 8 days. That you will not keep people waiting longer than 5 minutes. That you will deliver the pizza within 35 minutes. Once you start making that promise, this circle comes into play. And now you only have control over here. Because sometimes this is out of your control, expectations. You can brainwash them after the fact, but leading up to it, you better be careful about how many customers are going to come. So this goes up to 50. You better, what are you going to do? Number one, you might need to get 2 customer service officers for that day. Just have excess capacity. What's another way to do it? You replace your trainee customer service officer with a more experienced one who can take not 5 minutes, only takes 4 minutes. You with me? In other words, you've made a promise to keep the 5 minutes waiting time. All right? Now, if customers go from 40 to 50, well, you need to make an adjustment here. All right? Demand goes up, promise stays the same, so you better change your operations service capability. All right? See the relationship? All right? And so you can ask lots of questions around this. Say, oh, what if the demand doesn't change? This does not change. All right? And what if we change this? Can we change our promise? Ah, you with me? So if customers are still 40 and we replace our novice customer service officer with an experienced one, so we cut from 5 down to 4, right? Can we make a promise of keeping customers waiting for no longer than 4 minutes? You with me? Because this doesn't change, If we change this, can we make a better province? So here's the question here. Can we improve? Can we improve our promise? Well, if this doesn't change, in order to answer this question, you have to change here. All right? See how the three circles are related? Let's ask another question. Can we change, if customer demand changes, okay, and we keep our same promise, then we need, how can we deal with demand? Well, we either need to train the customer service officer. Are you with me here? All right? Now, if we keep the promise the same and operations, and we want to improve customers from 40 to 50, then we need to focus more on operations. Can you see that we've got 1, 2, and 3 going all the time? Now, if you go back to chapter 19, the first example is exactly this. And that's what I'm going to show you in the PowerPoint slide. So have a look at that PowerPoint slide. Okay? I'm going to take you through that example. We're going to have a break, but we're going to go through the example. And you'll see all the calculations and you'll do the calculations. But the learning point is this symbiotic relationship between time, customers, and what? Yeah. So what happens if you cannot fix operations and customer demand go up? What can you do? You've already made a promise. You can't change this. This changes all of a sudden. What do? You send some customer relations officer out to the line and say, oh, I deeply apologise. You know, we really apologise. This is just once off. Some of our staff are homesick because of the flu. We really apologise. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. So what are you doing with that? You are trying to you're communicating, look, we're keeping our promise, but this is a special event, okay? We've got a bottleneck. We've got an unfortunate bottleneck today. And so we need to deal with that. And look, can you just relax your expectation just for today? So, okay, you may not be happy about that, but at least you'll go away thinking, okay, it's just a blip, and we'll come back and we'll be back to normal. But you don't want to do that too many days in a row, right? Because then the customers will think you're faking it. All right? So you can either manage customers' expectations beforehand, making promises, or after the fact by going out and apologising for breaking your promise. You with me? All right? You either got to do one or the other. All right? You either keep the promise or you've got to manage your expectations. All right? This is the psychology. All right? This is your operations and this is time. All right? So one last step. One last step. I think you'll love this part. So that's our first exercise in chapter 19 we're going to look at. But the second part of chapter 19, the second part of the second half, which is the last quarter, right? We go on to theory of constraints. And you probably think, what's that got to do with time? What's that got to do with managing the waiting line? What's that got to do with making a promise on time? Now you've got theory of constraints. Is it all just thrown together in chapter 19? Is there any meaning there? Yes, there is. Here is the meaning. All right? You want to change operations. One way of changing operations is to break them down. All right? So, customer comes to the window. You say, hello. Oh, give me your card. Okay, what do you want? You want cash. Oh, you want to fill out a rec form, you know, for auto pay or something like that. And maybe there's a few other things. Okay? And then suddenly, okay, teller, been trained to do that. Been trained to do that, trained to do that. Oh, then suddenly the teller gets stuck. Oh, where are the forms to fill out auto pay? Oh, I haven't been trained on this. Suddenly this becomes a bottleneck. You with me? So what turned out to be a 5-minute customer interaction turns into 10 minutes, then 11, then 12, and everyone's running around. And another teller had to give up their station to go and get the form for you. Now their service has gone down because of this bottleneck, okay? We call that a bottleneck, all right? Because suddenly there's something in the whole flow. Oh, stop, okay? The whole flow is getting interrupted, all right? And then that causes time loss, all right? So this last part of chapter 19 was to apply the theory of constraints to this bottleneck. What do you do about that? Well, when you do an operational improvement, if you want to go from 5 minutes to 4 minutes, number one, you can have a better trained person. Number two, you can identify the bottleneck and work out, okay, let's put in a shelf system where we have all the forms laid out. And so then, even if you're not trained, you just go down, oh, there's that form. It's there waiting for you. And every teller has arm-length access to the form. You with me? So you put a system in place to overcome the potential bottlenecks. You with me? That's what theory of constraints is about. It goes into a little bit more detail, but all that matters here is that you are... the main theory is you only look at direct material costs as applied in a factory setting in working out the economics of solving this bottleneck. And that's different from what you're taught in basic management accounting, some of you, where the only relevant costs are direct materials, direct labour, variable overhead, variable sales, variable admin costs, variable financing costs. You with me? They're all relevant costs. Why? Because they change, because they're in the future, right? But now under theory of constraints, all that matters is materials, because we're looking at a very super short period. We want to solve a bottleneck. So after the break, when we come back, we're going to, number one, look at this waiting time problem, okay, where we trade off 1, 2, 3. Then we go into the second part where we pull apart this operations aspect and look at it in more detail in terms of, okay, we have a procedure going along. We have a series of activities. And this one cannot occur before this. This cannot occur before this. They all need to go in sequence. But they don't all occur at the same time. They need different resources, so it creates a bottleneck. So if we want to go from 5 minutes to 4 minutes, maybe we have to think about where's the bottleneck and let's solve that bottleneck, then we can go faster. Okay? That's what we're going to do after the break. Thank you for listening. Catch you in a minute.